Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Pontius Show. We just had an amazing conversation with one of my best friends in the whole world, Jeff Tremaine. So grab yourself a warm glass of milk, maybe a hot cocoa, and enjoy the show. I know I will. Roll the clip.
I've never seen this Misfits shirt before.
We got it in another country.
Yeah.
I feel like, that's one that maybe
wasn't done with permission.
maybe not done with permission or done without Danzig's permission.
Yeah.
Done by
The others.
It's
the other
legit.
members.
It's legit.
It is legit,
It's
though.
legit.
the Wrestling guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other guys.
Are we started? Awesome.
One time I was, we had just interviewed Dawkins.
Yeah.
At the Whiskey, and Doyle was coming to play that night at the Whiskey. And the first thing he brings in is this weight bench.
Oh, yeah. He needs it.
Weights. And they set him on the floor right in front of the stage. And so I'm trying to wrap up with Dawkins, and then Doyle's like,
He has to keep in top shape on the road.
top shape.
That's what I heard. Like when they went on the road back in the day, like they'd have to sacrifice some of the gear for the weights, like the bench,
That was being fit.
or sound, or our muscles.
You never know when someone's going to challenge you to wrestle, Chris.
Yeah.
You know that better
You
than
never know.
Yeah.
I know. And he remained in great shape at 50. Like when we saw them playing, he was all buff.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
50 years old then.
I'm just going to
Great.
dive in. Do you remember when we were, I don't even remember what country we were in, but there was this little dude who was like a producer for a Discovery Channel show.
Yeah.
And
It was in Japan.
in Japan.
Yep.
And somehow we convinced you that he wanted to wrestle and he didn't back down.
No, he didn't.
And he was very lightweight.
Yeah, he was really lightweight. he was an Englishman, I
He
think.
was fighting out of his class.
Do you have brittle bones?
Oh, yeah, he was petite. Yeah.
And Chris suplexed this guy on a cement floor, and I was like, oh my God, I
you
wanted
break
that to happen, and I didn't want that to happen.
And you made it happen.
And I made it happen.
You always make things happen.
And sometimes you regret as you see it happen.
This guy wants to wrestle.
Shoot, man.
Yeah, this guy, just stick me on him.
It's fun to create adventure, but sometimes you get it over your head.
He kind of had it coming though, didn't he?
a bit.
Well, he didn't back down, and I was like, dude,
That's the thing. It's when they don't back down. You should back down. And you expect them to back down. That's what like sometimes Aaron makes the mistake of not backing down. Just back down.
I remember,
But God, that guy. But I don't remember his how it ended. I think I turned
it
around and
ended with
continued.
him pretty hurt
I think I just
on the floor, and us having to leave.
I don't
That's how
remember.
it ended.
I think after I did it, I just continued my conversation or whatever I was doing.
Yeah, he wasn't much of a match for me. I remember one time, you can edit this out, but we were in Amsterdam, and we'd been drinking and we'd been running around. And late into the evening, I decided to try mushrooms.
Yeah.
It was a dumb idea because we were already kind of drunk. And so we're walking around and I'm pissed because I've done it a couple of times.
Yeah.
But I committed to doing them. And I was pissed that they weren't working. And Chris and I were walking around the red light district, when you're just jammed in these little corridors, everyone's pressed up on you. And these weird drug dealers keep getting in your ear like, Kokashi's ecstasy. Kokashi's ecstasy. They just get right up on you and you're in your ear. I'm like, oh my God. And Chris looks over at me. He's like, these guys keep saying, do you want to wrestle? Do you want to wrestle? Do you want to wrestle? And that just triggered the mushrooms to kick in. And I just started laughing at everything from then on. And so he triggered got it going because it wasn't happening.
He's a good trigger
You need
when
your
you're on
moment.
mushrooms.
Your moment when it happens.
It was just giggle mushrooms.
It reminds me of that movie Evil Dead, when they're just hanging out and one lady's already been bit and they're playing cards and all of a sudden the lady that gets possessed is like king of spades, ace of diamonds, blah blah blah. And then that's always how it is when it hits you. It just comes out of nowhere and it's on.
Because I was so mad. I'm like, God darn it! I wasted it.
It's not working.
It's not working.
Yeah, it sucks. But then it did.
And then it did.
Oh God, yeah, oh God, yeah. Saying yes to mushrooms after like late in the night of drinking.
Yeah, it's
always
a dumb idea.
Yeah, because it like a little while
Sort
into it
of.
is like when it can lead to adventure.
Yeah.
It's not good for sleep.
And it's not good for
But
sleep.
you
It's
don't
terrible.
need to.
God. Yeah. Oh my God. So everybody, welcome to the Pontius Show. I'm Chris.
May.
And today we have a very special guest, Jeff Tremaine. First time on the show.
Yep.
And we were already talking.
Oh, and post-birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jeff. I know. Jeff just had his birthday. And you have a documentary coming up.
I do.
What's it called?
It is called Nothing But a Good Time. It's about the whole run of hair metal, like the Sunset Strip hair metal scene that got bigger than the Sunset Strip, but kind of ran for a decade.
Roll the clip.
In the 80s, it was an exciting time in music. It was amazing.
You had to have lived it.
Go all the way. More hair, more clothes, tighter pants. That is what rock and roll is about.
This heavy metal music, is all of it bad?
To me, they're all satanic. I don't want anything to do with it.
On tour, every human depravity came out.
He's throwing meat and blood at the audience.
I wanted to play so hard that my hands would bleed. I would have blood on my snare all the time.
He modified the cod piece and put explosives in it. We just heard a big boom. The thing backfired into his balls.
They made it seem so awesome to just have sex and do drugs.
It was nothing but a good time, not the life I lived.
I feel like I'm going to die, so I probably shouldn't be in this band.
When you have that level of dominance, there's nowhere else really to go except for off the cliff.
Randy winds up taking a joyride.
I'm awakened by boom! That I was going to take care of him. I brought him back home in a box.
I had to change my life, get back on track.
The music withstood the test of time.
They really changed the game.
We bet on ourselves, and when it paid off, it was awesome.
You didn't realize what a magical time you were in.
When you're making that, I'm sure you met some interesting characters.
Here we go.
No, it reminded me of I mean, looking back, like on the trailer, like there's like the chicks with the guys. Remember when we went to see Methods of Mayhem, Tommy Lee's band, like later this kind of rap metal band, like years later, like near the end of us working at Big Brother, but before Jackass. And we were doing the shoe test, and we went to the show, and all the chicks that were there were like chicks from that era, but the years had passed, but they were still going out to see Tommy, and support him. But I just remember it was gnarly, like.
Yeah, I remember. So we were doing a shoe test.
Yeah,
and the test was to see if rock stars like these shoes.
Yeah,
and so you took the shoes and threw them at Tommy Lee.
Yeah,
and the rapper singer guy.
Yeah,
and hit him.
Yeah, it hit him. Well, he was celebrating after a song, like, and then the shoe would go and hit him in the chest.
And I don't think they liked the shoes.
No, I think that was the result.
Failed test.
What a ridiculous test.
Yeah. He also decided to test to see if the gorillas liked the shoes at the zoo. Yeah. And so we tied 3 tennis shoes together and he threw it into the gorilla enclosure.
Did they like it?
They did like it.
They did like it.
Yeah, they did like it.
You know what's weird? Like me and Sean were like waiting for so long for like our moment to get to when no one was looking. And there was this guy that was probably on psychedelics that was like watching the gorilla and he wouldn't leave and he was acting like a gorilla too. And finally we're like, F it, like and just threw it in there. But I later called the zoo to confess my crime. And
I think we were nervous that, oh man, I hope they didn't eat the shoe or something.
What
I just wanted to know what ended up. I was afraid like the zookeeper was going to try to take
and get killed.
The shoe away from the gorilla and then get attacked. Yeah, I think it was a cab, one of Cab's shoes.
So this was at the LA Zoo?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But you're a member of the LA Zoo, so
Yeah, now
I guess
we can throw them in without worrying about it. Back then when we weren't members.
Every time. Yeah. Now that they've forgiven you.
Now that I have a little card that says 2 adults and 2 children can go for free.
Shoes.
But no, I called and I talked to the lady at the zoo and I told her what I had done. And I just wanted to know that everything was all right. And she thought it was funny. Like,
Okay, so the gorillas liked it.
He was
though.
really trying to find out which shoe did they prefer. There was a
Oh,
Vans.
okay. All right.
there's a
a
Vans
cab.
one, maybe a Costin.
And maybe a costume, and maybe
The Costins were really good. They weren't my style, but God, they were good.
Oh, which Costin?
Costin ones.
I like the Costin ones.
They were the best show.
The threes were a bit
As far as
crazy.
function though, the Costin ones were probably.
they?
we did this.
Best
We
shoe.
did that article at the height of like everybody had a shoe out.
Yeah.
It was the shoe boom.
The shoe boom.
Everyone. had it.
Krieger, Muska,
Everyone.
Costin,
Yeah.
Dudek,
Even
everybody.
skaters that didn't deserve it, they would be on maybe a
Oh,
different
like
shoe
who?
company.
Tell me who didn't deserve the shoe.
Oh God!
Come on, call one
I don't
out.
remember, but I mean, not now. It's be like the top guys, but now back then, any old one would.
This has nothing to do with who deserved or didn't deserve a shoe.
I don't know if I was.
Last weekend, I went and saw Tommy Carrero play.
Yeah.
And there was a drummer guy playing percussion. I'm like, that looks like Matt Rodriguez. And it wasn't.
No way.
iPath.
Oh my God!
Oh,
Yeah, he was
I
on
remember
iPad.
that.
Bringing it back.
He was,
Yeah?
oh really?
I was pretty stoked, like just to see. Yeah, it's a little skater band. I was hoping that the bass player who I didn't recognize, I
God.
would be somebody.
I only met Matt Rodriguez once, and he was kind of a cool hippie skater. But it was. I'll tell you a story. Like me and you, and some of the others were at Molly Malone's, and Mickey Reyes and Andy Roy were there with some of the younger guys from the team, and I think Mickey'd met like some gnarly woman from Detroit. You know, he was promiscuous,
And
so-
was he a police officer at this time? or
he wasn't a
past?
policeman anymore, but he went off with her, and Andy went along with them to go party. And so I was staying at Dave Carney's down the street, and I went to like go to the store late at night to get some macaroni, and I see Matt Rodriguez and that kid from Texas that skated for them. God, I don't remember. But anyway, Mickey had left them all stranded, like, and so like they were trying to like reach someone on the on the payphone at the time, and they were just all bummed, and like because Mickey had left them for like this lady
Oh, was
from
that
Detroit.
long ago?
Yeah, it was before cell phones. It was Big Brother era, but I felt bad for them because Mickey was basically like supposed to be taking care of these kids. But I used to hang out with Mickey a lot. He was a wild man. We had a lot of good times.
Mickey was crazy.
But yeah, sometimes like, and especially when he was a policeman, like one time.
What city was he?
San Francisco.
All right. Okay.
There's a movie Bad Lieutenant. It was kind of like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story. One time, I mean, it doesn't really go anywhere, but we were driving, me and Mickey, and we drove by some, this was in the Mission back in the day, and we drove by some gangsters. He's like, shoot him. And then I'm like, what? He's like, there's a gun under the seat. Shoot him. Like, I was like, no. Like that's just, oh no, hopefully he was joking. But
Chris is doing these drive-bys in San Francisco. It's terrible. Yeah, in a cop car.
Yeah, I was like, this,
Were you in a cop car?
no, I was
okay.
in, but
Damn.
never rode in his cop car, but yeah, it was crazy.
Yes.
But yeah, we had a lot of fun. Like,
I love Mickey.
yeah, he's a good guy. I mean, not a good guy necessarily. Mickey, if you're watching that, but I had a lot of fun with you. He's way bigger than me, so I'd always wrestle with him. It was good practice. God. And there's some things like I can't talk about on the show, but it would even bum Mickey out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Be careful.
Be careful. Yeah. I'll tell you guys a funny story when we're done filming. Sorry, audience. Oh, God. Oh, my God.
You're going to have to pay for this story.
Yeah, like, what do you like, in like, when we'd all stay at Tobin's house, like, and like John Cardio was there, and Mickey would beat up John, and I think he actually stabbed John once, like it was like,
It would get out of control quick.
yeah, it would get out of control. Like, speaking of, I should do my show and tell that I always do.
Speaking of
this
Mickey,
little knife I bought,
knives.
this is one of my new knives.
Speaking of stabbing.
This is a Giant Mouse. Julian, I really like. Just got this knife. I wanted to show it to you. I know it's not your fetish, but I just wanted to show it to you. But I really like it, and this is my current.
I watched the strangest reel on Instagram the other day where this guy is sharpening a knife.
Yeah.
And then this other guy sitting at the table takes it, flips it so the sharp side's up, and he just hits his hand down on it, and it sticks. The knife sticks in it.
Just for fun?
I don't know what the fuck comes up. There's no explanation for it.
What a nut
The guy's
job.
just sharpening the knife, and then he puts it on the table. The guy just flips it so it's blade sharp side up, and he just hits his hand down on it, and then picks up the knife stuck in
Just
there.
silent comedy.
And then the knife drops and it goes like this, and that's the end of the video.
That's the end of it. But now he's not trying to be funny.
No,
that's the difference between
no one says anything.
Like Jackass and people like that. Like they do something really painful and dangerous, but they're not laughing. Like, they're just weirdos. I brought these knives. These are my grappling knives. My
difference between comedy and crimes.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fine line sometimes. But these, I know these are one of your favorite knives of mine. My clinch
they're
picks.
my favorite because you always have them on you. Like,
yeah, I didn't wear pants today, but normally they fit really nicely here. They're my grappling knives, like because they're sharp on the opposite side. So if someone like is going to get you, which is the only reason you use these knives, and get you and try to do harm to you, you can wrap your arms around them and like go like that, or you can do the old sewing machine, or you can even use them like this. And you can do like boxer style.
Thank God you always have those on you.
Yeah.
The shanks.
Yeah. So
in case a drug dealer tries to approach you in the red light district, and you're just minding your own business, there for innocent reasons.
Or a guy says he cut you off, which you didn't.
Just at a strip club.
Jeff and I we went to an introductory class years ago of Gracie JiuJitsu, like right when jiu-jitsu kind of like became on the scene, like maybe like UFC, like 1 or 2 or 3 had happened, but it wasn't a big thing yet. And I was like, Jeff, you got to, the Gracie home base was near his house where he lived in the South Bay. So I had him go to a class with me because I wanted to do an article in Big Brother about how to, it was called How to Beat People Up. So I convinced Jeff to go. And I remember it being like, when you're grappling, you have to be on top of one another. And like, I don't think I wore underpants to it. And like, so it was my turn to be, you were in the guard and I was on top and you're like, your balls are on my chest. And I was like, sorry, Jeff. And then I realized like.
The only thing I remember from that whole thing was that the guy running it, who wasn't one of the Gracies, he was this talker, right?
Yeah.
And he was just creating these scenarios where you're always innocent and everyone else is out to get you. And you need to know how to dismantle this person. Like it just tells me those guys are out there just looking for trouble, wanting to be the good guy. So they're just making every scenario happen, and then they're the good guy that came in and broke this guy's face.
He does this. Yeah, here's how you do it.
You want to use what you learn.
Like, so you're at a wedding, and you're the bride's
brother-in-law
has had a few to drink.
He's had a few too many. He gets a little aggressive at you.
Yeah. Like you're instigating it.
You're out driving, and
which happens.
You get into a fender bender, and
he says it was your fault, which it wasn't. And he grabs you by the throat, and then he like tells you how to deal with it.
Rip the throat out, and you step your foot in the hole where the throat used to be, and you kick through the brain.
Because in real life, it's not like it isn't like MMA. Like there's a lot of rules. Like they teach you what really to do in these scenarios. Because there's not really that many things that people do when they're out to get you. They usually go for a few tactics. Like and the way to deal with these people is to do like really brutal things to them that are like against the rules.
MMA gyms sort of ruined.
They kind of
fun nights of drinking, right? Because I used to love to run around and just talk shit, and now I have to check their ears before I talk shit.
There was a game that Jeff played around when I first met him.
Wait, before you go, do you want to show him this one?
Oh,
this one. This is what
Knoxville sent all of these to us.
Yes, he did.
I don't know if he sent one to you, but as you can see, it is a Jeff Tremaine butt plug. And he sent them to all the members. And he immediately, like, everyone reacted differently to the butt plug. Steve-O sent us a video back of it. I'm using the butt plug.
I got poopies last night.
Yeah. Oh, God. And,
with the lubricant. He used silicone lubricant, not water-based.
In the conversation with all the members, he was like, he said he'd asked his girlfriend permission or something, and everyone started giving him a lot of crap for asking permission. Use it.
Yeah, I'm not on that chain. I heard.
Yeah, it was secretive.
Oh, it's a secret chain.
Yeah. So, but then then a big conversation about whether or not to use lube came up, and I was avoiding because I didn't want to see him using the butt plug.
The important thing though is like, My face is also here in case.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
In case it's being used, you can still see me.
In case.
So the way so you can still see him, or whoever's helping you with the butt plug,
Right.
and still get to see Jeff.
In the videos, you get to see my
the
face.
videos that we see. I don't like to see Poopy's butt. I'm freaked out by it. I have never seen his butthole, but when we were filming the underwater fart and Poopy's tried his hand at it, and you guys told me that his butt looked like a tied off balloon or something, and there was some poop on it, or
there's like a little finger.
There's a finger,
on the
and you know it's an assicle. It's called an assicle.
Oh, like an icicle, but an icicle.
But an icicle. That's what it is.
All right.
And so he's got one, and I've always been afraid of Poopy's butthole, so I didn't watch and I don't want to see the poop on it or in this case, I think there was blood. Poopy's was tighter than expected.
Oh God!
Maybe he didn't use any lube.
Oh.
They told him he didn't need lube, so he went for it. But I don't know.
Sorry to derail that.
No.
Into Poopy's blood.
Poopy's bloody butt.
Blood butt.
Poopy's bloody butt.
Yeah.
Poopy's found out.
What was that? So on a different, back to the topic, but what was that bar that we'd go to that you were actually always, it was on Sunset or Hollywood?
What would Jeff do?
And Jeff would always no, it was closer to where we used to live.
But what's the action? Coaching horses?
Yes,
horses. We got stoked on going to coaching horses at one point. And,
a lot.
Years ago. And then we realized they had a cool jukebox, but sometimes people would put songs in that we didn't care for. And Jeff taught me that if you unplug the jukebox, it'll start the list over and take away their songs. So we do that.
It allowed us to. We didn't have to get there early to get the jukebox. So we just show up whenever we want.
Yeah.
So we're doing it. And I remember one time I don't know what we'd done. It was at first they were stoked on us. I got kicked out anyway, and so I got kicked out, and I decided to force my way back in our rugby style. And so I was forcing my way back in. And while I was forcing my way back in, you and Knoxville were getting kicked out for a completely different reason, and we collided, and it was just
we bottlenecked the door.
Yeah, we did, and they're yelling at us. They're going, "You guys used to be cool, but you're not cool anymore." And as in used to be cool, it was the week before. That was when we were they weren't stoked on us being there anymore.
Oh,
and I always kind of avoided going to that bar after that for a little while. And then a few years later, it changed hands or whatever. I felt a little bit bad.
It's a very confrontational thing to take over the jukebox.
It was.
It really upsets people.
Yeah. Just like
because we go over the 22 and 20 could buy you quite a few songs.
Yeah.
So we would come in, unplug
a few
it,
hours.
and then you would stand guard, and I would put the songs in. So if anyone came up, they had to wrestle you.
I think I got in an argument with a man at 7-Eleven also, which was a-hole 7-Eleven. I never liked them even afterwards.
That one.
But they remember me for years. I had one of those microwave burritos, and for some reason I did something that the guy didn't like, and I got in an argument with him, and the police were just there. And so I'm yelling. We're yelling at each other in the parking lot. He's like, "The police were there." And I'm like, "The police were here, but they're not here anymore. No one can help you now." And while I'm yelling at him, I'm peeing. And I went in there a few weeks later, and or maybe months later, and he just never. And he yelled at me. And then a year later, I went in there and he yelled. The guy never forgot me, and he's just like, "You mother effer."
Oh my God! I just read an article about this pro football player. He's an ex-pro football player, and he got arrested because he was on a flight and he peed on this old lady.
Oh, no.
And it brought back memories of a time when we were flying.
Yeah.
And I look over and Pontius is going to the bathroom. He had to get up to go to the bathroom. And so he opened the bathroom door and he's standing in the bathroom and peeing out. Instead of into the toilet, he's peeing into the aisle and on people. And
towards people.
He's just standing there, just like he's
casually,
peeing, as
normal.
if the toilet were those people on the floor. And then he's done. He pulls his pants up, and he's not quite done. He pees into his pants a bit, and then he climbs to try to get to the window seat. In a row that's not his, that's full of people. There's a person in the window seat, a person in the middle, a person in the end. He's climbing over those two people to get to the window seat. And everyone's freaking out. And I had a hoodie on. I just tightened the strings to just have a little thing. Had headphones over the hoodie. And I'm just like, God damn it, don't see me. No one see me.
Oh my God.
Chris was wandering around the plane like a zombie,
trying to look for the seat.
I think I messed with some guy, kind of a big guy. I was like maybe taunting him, like I was being really bad. I remember when we landed though, and I finally came to. You were a little bit upset.
Well, you had misdiagnosed yourself as a sleep aid and red wine.
Yeah, I was never trying to be bad. It was just.
But
like,
the football player was saying the same thing. He's like, I don't know. I just blacked out. I took a.
He wasn't meaning to be bad.
No, he was demon shell. Just pure like. Lights out, and I'm like, oh, I've been in. I get it.
Yeah.
It was probably Ambien because I remember like this was especially early in the days of. I'd never touch that anymore because that stuff's scary. But like Ambien would with alcohol, like even one red wine, maybe two, will make your body or your brain go to sleep, but your body doesn't. Yeah. And I realized after that when you hear all these airplane stories.
You didn't realize it after that because after that,
it took me a while.
We were in Argentina, and.
So many.
And Chris slept through one of the things we were shooting, so he's in big trouble. And his punishment was that he had to drink the horse semen. And, and you did it. You did it.
Yeah, I don't think you really considered it as punishment.
I knew someone had to do it, so I figured while I'm at it.
Well, it was your punishment. I put it on pretty hard that you had to do it.
Well, here's how I was thinking at the time. I was like, while I'm doing, I know that Steve-O's got a kind of a weak stomach where those things make him puke before he can even get to it. Knoxville was our guest, so we couldn't ask him to do it. I knew I had to do it. And it would get me out of being in trouble that time. And I made a bargain to get in trouble for doing something in the future.
I just hope all these travel stories don't like flag you when we go traveling.
No, that was years ago.
What's weird is it didn't flag us then.
Yeah.
Like cops grabbed him as he got off the plane. And then if it wasn't him, it was Steve-O the next flight. It was always one.
It was always one or the other.
And I liked Steve-O was terrible too.
Yeah.
Like Steve-O just thought, no smoking, man.
Oh, yeah.
Smoke as much as you want.
Oh, yeah.
And scream.
Yeah, and scream. Yeah, and especially like...
And kick the chair in front of you.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah. And if they get mad at you, kick the chair.
I think you guys were the reason why the aviation laws got really serious.
It depends on your attitude, I think. That matters.
Yeah.
There were some rough flights with Steve. Like, there was one where he went to try to have his cigarette in the bathroom, and his logic was... He wasn't tampering with the smoke machine, the smoke detector. He was just tampering with the cigarette. And that was coming back from Costa Rica, and boy, was he bad. Like, and I was so glad not to be saying urine.
Fire.
Yeah, he's listening to For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, and they yell, fire! And he's yelling, he's singing along with the song.
Well, he's also he's like leaning way back, so his feet are up.
Oh, God.
And as the bass drum would kick or whatever, he would kick the headrest of the seat in front of him as hard as he could. So he'd launch the guy in front of him forward.
Oh, that guy was mad. I just remember being like...
I remember the guy getting up, he's like, whoever's babysitting these guys is doing a terrible job.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And I was like, fuck, that's me.
That's
but
you.
I was so happy it wasn't me for one thing. And I was sleeping. I just like woke up hearing that. I'm like, I went back to sleep. Like, and I was like, God, like this is hilarious. But yeah, I never meant to be bad on the plane. It was just a situation of misdiagnosing. And I think it's the spirit of which you're bad that matters.
Yeah.
Like if you're aggressive and mean, it matters. And this was years ago.
And that was like, Steve-O wasn't intending to fuck with the person in front of him. He was just very much into the song.
Really into his song. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one time we were coming back from Brazil and they were preemptively mean to us and they I guess Gooch was in charge of the tickets. No reason. The ticket they harassed him a lot. But so we sat down to like get ready for our flight and Gooch wasn't on because he was being harassed by the front counter. And they're like, you guys better not be cussing and blah blah blah, and listing all these rules to us, and we hadn't even done anything wrong. And then we're like, we're not cussing. And then Gooch comes stomping onto the plane. Fuck! I guess we can't say that.
Oh my God.
And then on that flight, Steve-O was listening to his Sepultura in Deicide, and he was upset about it. He was going out with Candy at the time, and they were going through a rough patch. And he's like talking to himself. He's like, she says she wants to be friends. I'm not her fucking friend. And he's like almost crying. And while they're yelling at us, and he's just paying no attention to them. And yeah, it was wild. And then some of the flight attendants got in arguments with each other because some were on our side and some weren't. It was a rough.
Remember when we were doing Wildboyz? We were in Argentina, and we were going to fly over the Andes because we were going to fly up to the waterfall on the Brazil border, the Iguazu Falls.
Yeah.
And so we're on this commercial flight, smaller but commercial flight, flying over the Andes. And right before we get on, like we all kind of picked who we're going to eat and who we're going to, keep alive.
If something bad happens.
no.
If the plane crashes, we're eating Wolfie. And whatever. And then all of a sudden we start hitting this turbulence. I'm talking like
they make an announcement.
The plane dropped like
the gnarliest turbulence.
Like where I flew up and hit my side of my head on the luggage rack. Like flew out of the seat.
Like
the worst turbulence.
Worst turbulence I've ever been in.
You know what I always say on planes? I'm like, I'll let you know when you should be worried. Like, this was my thing to compare them all to.
Yeah.
Like,
and that movie Alive where the soccer players crash up there and they had to eat each other. So
and they're like,
we had a plan. I knew we were going to eat, and we're going to eat Wolfie.
Yeah. And the pilot's like, right before we hit, he says like, flight attendants buckle up right now, or like said something really serious. And then one of our Argentinian crew members was like, "Oh man, you got to die sometime," and it broke up the tension while it was going.
That's it.
Everyone loved it.
And like I was like super stressed.
Everyone started laughing.
Big PA guy, I don't remember what his job was, but he was on our crew, but he was Argentinian. He just stands up and he's like, "We're all going to die."
It was great though because it broke the tension.
And all of a sudden I just started laughing and didn't give a shit.
It made everyone on the plane feel better. Actually, it did. And then like while we landed, like it was their domestic airport and it was along the river, and it was like the plane was like going like this, like. It was really gnarly because after I remember looking at Cordell and he's like holding on to the seat, and I'm like, "Cordell, they say that landing is the most dangerous part of the flight." And he's like, "Ah." And then after we landed, I was watching the other planes landing, and they were all like the same thing. It was just.
I think that's one of the hardest airports to land in.
It's got to be. It was gnarly.
I think it is.
And that
we did some sketchy flying. On Wildboyz.
In Indonesia, we were on this like logging plane to take us all over because we wanted to go to like Irian Jaya, which is the Indo side of Papua New Guinea.
But the craziest thing was like we had this charter plane, which was not a very expensive plane.
It was an old plane
because that's what we could afford. We had an MTV2 budget at that point, and yet Gooch was flying commercial and beating us everywhere we went.
Yeah.
Like, why are we on this sketchy plane?
There was no reason to be taking
and
this
everyone's
chartered
smoking.
plane.
Like the pilots are smoking.
I looked and I saw the pilots.
Steve-O's smoking.
The pilots are smoking with a map in front of them, like to decide where we're going. Like, and I'm like,
Goose meets us on the runway every time. I'm like, how are you able to? Why aren't we just going with you?
I think because we were going to Papua New Guinea or Irian Jaya. They thought we would need the chartered plane, and then we were locked into it. I don't know. It was ridiculous.
It was like a Lego plane. It was made out of Legos.
It would do power slides in the sky,
or like sideways. It looked like it was made out of Minecraft.
It was like Minecraft.
Weird angles. Nothing was round.
Angles.
Square with like
no aerodynamics at all.
I loved how the pilots in the Navigator was doing it with a map though, like it was a road. Like maybe he was following the highway.
Steve was so stoked though because he could smoke.
He could smoke.
Did he have a cigar and go, "Here, this is where we land"?
Well, they were smoking.
Yeah.
It was wild, and you could like sleep in the aisle if you wanted to.
No circulation on the plane at all.
Yeah, no circulation.
It's like
you
100,
crack a window,
150 degrees, pure humidity, cigarette smoke.
I remember like them like on like smaller planes, like seaplanes. Like them telling us like not to open the window, and Mark Rackley like being all like pent up, like he like had to get out, and he's like and he like busts the window open and like so he could like film out the window. And when we land, he's like hair's all crazy.
Oh my God.
Like, but geez, yeah, I like the. I didn't like it. That was that was a sketchy plane, but it got us where we needed to go.
Oh my God.
The sacrifices for Wildboyz, huh?
Yeah. There's something, and we don't have to tell everyone about this, but before we got talking about the butt plug, where that took us. There was a game that Jeff was into when I first met him. He was going through a change in life. Maybe he'd gotten out of a big relationship, and he'd invented a game called Harley Down.
Oh boy.
Are we editing this one out or not?
No.
Yeah,
No.
hell yeah.
He I guess you only played it once, but
I played it like
more
4
than
or 5
once.
times. Yeah.
Were you inspired by Pee-wee's Big Adventure when you like?
No, I was just I lived at the beach, and there was just a lot of times you just see these like rich dickheads get on their Harleys and just be the weekend warrior with their brand new kit, and just Harleys annoyed me at that time.
Okay.
I didn't see real bikers riding. I only saw like.
Yeah, but when you did damage a Harley, you did end up paying for your damages.
So can you please explain to me the Harley Down? Can you tell everybody like what it was?
I'll tell you, I think the first time it happened,
Yeah.
we were, I was on a Big Brother skate trip. We were in New Orleans. We weren't even in New Orleans. We were in Metairie. And I had Rob Dyrdek, Simon, Steve Barra, a bunch of people were with us. And like, we were just wandering around Mardi Gras time. And we were about to go into this biker bar, like fully crowded, the parking lot of bikes. But no one was really out there. We're about to go into the bar. I'm like, hold on, you guys, hold on. Harley Down. And I kicked over a motorcycle. I don't know where we are. We're in the middle of nowhere. We're just wasted. And like, I did it, but everyone who was about to go in is just as guilty as me.
Yeah.
So we all just fucking
association.
It was just adventure is going to happen tonight, guys. I don't know if we're going to make it.
I wish I was on that trip. That trip was gnarly, huh?
Were you on the one where I got arrested? Like it was the Guided by Voices show at the Troubadour. And I kicked over, I guess he was the doorman's motorcycle. And it was in the light. You know, I got thrown out of the Guided by Voices show. So I'm stuck out on the street. Well, my favorite band's playing inside, and I felt...
You're frustrated.
You're like,
you felt hard done by.
And they wouldn't let me in.
And that guy kicked you out. That sucks.
And so I kicked over the motorcycle, and we lived at the beach then, so I had to wait for Cliver and McKee to get out of the show.
Yeah.
So I had to lurk around, you know, in Boys Town, just hiding in gay bars.
And didn't a friend of yours rat you out?
No, we just got caught by the bouncer. Oh. But I was remember Tracy who worked at World? Like she was pretty
funny.
gnarly. And like her shirt got red, like her boob was hanging out.
Oh no.
And we're like both just hammered walking around Boys Town. And the bouncer grabbed me, and then she bit the bouncer.
Oh, wow. Right.
And I was like, "Oh, don't make it worse." I mean, like, because I was starting to get sober up and feeling bad about kicking over the guy's motorcycle.
Oh
and
no!
I went to Beverly Hills jail that night.
Oh my god!
That's a nice jail.
And it was nice.
Yeah.
Like it's.
I haven't.
It really was. Like it was. Like, but I was pretty hungover, and I'm like, God, I feel bad about it. So I called the guy.
Tell me about the time that you went to. You got to see Disneyland jail.
Oh yes, please.
So
we went to Slayer, right?
Yeah, we went to Disneyland with Slayer for Big Brother.
Yeah,
and So, what happened?
Well, we thought it'd be a good idea. This is at the end. We were pretty drunk going into it, and at the end, the monorail was taking us back to Disney Hotel, and we had Slayer with us, and I looked at the monorail station was right over what was then 20,000 leagues under the sea, which is now Finding Nemo ride, which is these submarines on a track that go through a little path, right? And we see the water, the moat, you know, with these two submarines down there. I'm like, Lance, you think you can jump between those two submarines? And he's like, yeah, probably. I'm like, okay. So I kept, like, Rick filmed it. Lance jumps up and like, we don't know if there's a little track right down the middle. He couldn't see. You know, he just thought maybe they're just floating and go through.
Yeah.
And he put it down perfectly, but it was sketchy, right?
So sketchy.
And then he started getting manhandled. So I ran down, but we threw the camera on the monorail, and Slayer and everybody got away with the tape.
So you two got caught.
I went down to help Lance get out, and we got arrested. And then, you know, we thought it'd be like, we're going to, you guys are going to jail. So they put us in the Disney jail, which you would think would be this like, oh, hey, I'm Goofy, I'm in jail. Like, but it's just like a cage in an office, like a little, you know.
So that's what did you get handcuffed? Like
no, I didn't get
like,
handcuffed.
But they actually have a cage to put bad guests in.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they put you guys in the cage.
Yeah.
And then
they let me go eventually. And then they took Lance to Anaheim jail, and then we had to get Lance out.
Oh, he had to go to Anaheim jail, but because Jeff wasn't the main perpetrator. He just had to go to Disneyland jail in the cage.
Jail.
They eventually let you out of your cage.
Did you talk yourself out of?
They put you in a cage.
No, I talked myself to get a few more hours, I'm sure.
Into Disney jail.
I'll never forget, Jeff told me what they said to him. They're like, so what happened? And Jeff goes, we were just standing there waiting for the monorail, and this little Asian guy kicked him
with a
over the rail with a rat tail, kicked him off the platform into the water. And they're like, well, he didn't have his boots on. And I'm like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. He kicked him right out of his boots. And then they go, well, do you know you smell like a brewery? And he's like, I've never been to a brewery, so I wouldn't know what one smells like. And I don't even know why I'm here. Can I go now? That's what you said to them. You were drunk. I remember it was so funny right when we met back up with you. I was like, God, that was so witty. Like, he kicked him right out of his boots. Like, and God, so naughty.
But you gotta give details. The rat tail. Like
The rat tail.
that'll
You
make
need
them believe
details.
it. Like,
It's those details that makes them believe you. Like they believed you.
A little Asian guy.
This little Asian guy. Yeah. But he was tremendously powerful. He must have known the
corduroy
motion.
shorts.
Yeah.
Out of date.
OP corduroy shorts. Oh my God.
Oh my God, my face hurts.
And I think Lance eventually got let out of jail.
No charges.
No charges.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that the judge ended up thinking it was kind of funny. That's also a key when you do something bad. You need to win the hearts of the courtroom.
True.
I think most defense lawyers could tell you the same thing.
Win the hearts.
Yeah, I've had the situation in times of doing things, and once you win their hearts, it's important. It's important. But and also win the hearts of the law.
I think it's a story. You have to have a story.
Yeah, but yeah.
Do you know about him? He is not good in jail.
I'm a bad prisoner.
You can't put him in a cage.
I
He
can
does
tell.
not like it.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell.
It turns into a different person.
Yeah.
Can't live in a cage. I'm like Patrick Swayze in
He doesn't
Point
turn
Break.
green,
He
but he
needs to
does
be
become
free.
the Hulk.
I turn crazy.
Yeah.
He doesn't like confined spaces.
One time I was in jail and I was doing a bunch of bad things, and like eventually, like the police had to hog tie me and put me in a straitjacket. And then, but in the middle of later on when I was settled down and woken up, I'd fled my cell and stuff. They asked me if I was a male model because I was
You got a tremendous physique.
and I was really flattered by it actually. Like in the midst of all this tension between
Hold
me
on. Say that again.
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing up there in San Francisco? You modeling? Are you a male model? I was like, oh, why? Thank you.
No, I work for a women's group.
I did. I worked for the Women's Foundation, which was the largest women's philanthropy organization in the world.
Was this after Jeff fired you? Or?
It was after Jeff fired me.
Second firing.
Oh, second firing. So how come you gave him a second chance?
I gave him a third chance.
They needed me. I mean, it was just teaching me a lesson. I don't know. I don't know what. I didn't need me. They didn't need me. They continued to
wanted
make
you.
some
They
issues without
wanted
me,
you,
and they
Chris.
made a few issues before me.
Yeah.
So they didn't need me. But yeah, I think they probably missed me. But they had to teach me a lesson, I guess. But it did at the time when I was fired, and Jeff had to actually. It was a while before I had the courage to call him and face what I'd done, not getting on the tour. I'd missed a flight. I didn't show up on a tour, and then I didn't. I was in a weird place. It was like the day after New Year's, and New Year's was kind of a crazy night. And then Jeff had to say it, make it official, and go, "You're fired." So I was like, "What am I going to do with my life? I've got no I've got no college degree. I don't really know how to do anything." And I've worked at Big Brother since I was 18. I wasn't very old at the time anyway. So I had to go out into the workforce in San Francisco and pay the rent. So I immediately got a job at Charles Schwab. I joined a temporary agency, and I went in there, and they had 20 temps. And they're like, at the end of the day, this guy that was like a college graduate that was sitting next to me doing whatever we were doing was like, they're going to keep one temp. I hope it's me. And then at the end of the day, they came up to me. They're like, Chris, will you come over here? And they're like, would you like to stay on with us? And does anyone ever tell you look like Patrick Swayze? And I was like,
You're there for the eye candy, Chris.
They looked at my
he was
resume.
really trying to do 9 to 5. The
Yeah.
best, and Chris can't do it. He's good for 3 days, 4 days, and that's.
I worked there for a little while.
I know.
But then, so it was weird that I realized that they were all talking about how I looked like Patrick Swayze or something. And they must have not looked at my resume because I didn't even know how to do computers or anything at the time. And
He's like this.
it was based completely on that. Everyone else was probably more qualified.
Natural for money management.
Yeah.
So natural for money management. So anyway, I'm in there and I was assistant to the payroll department, and I'm in there doing my numbers and all this. I figured out how to
Khaki
do it.
pants.
Yeah. I learned how to do it, and then I realized after a few weeks I was going above and beyond in what the rest of the office was doing.
Surpassing what your actual role was.
Yeah, because they'd leave at quitting time, and I was still staying on, going to another office to deliver a package. I was like, why aren't they doing what I'm doing? So I quit.
I have a feeling you didn't show up exactly on time, though.
No. No, I was good. I just didn't.
Never been a morning person.
I didn't want to work there anymore. So then I worked at the Women's Foundation, and that was awesome. I loved working there.
That's the longest you ever held a job.
Yeah, it was like
a month.
A month, yeah. Yeah. And then I realized that I needed to go on a trip around the country, go on a road trip, and then move to Hawaii. And then so I did that. And I bid farewell to the Women's Foundation.
You're lucky no one else could answer the letters like you could, so we hired you back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got back.
Who was the interim answerer?
Dave, maybe.
Carney did it for a while. We had guest answers.
Maybe, some, I can't remember who guest answered some of them. Sean might have done some.
And then you were like, no one can answer them like Chris.
Put a lot into those responses. A lot into them.
It's the truth, by the way.
It's very true.
Thank you, Jeff.
He does. You do really well putting your words onto paper.
I put a lot into them.
He would take these kids, we'll call them kids, that
Yeah.
write letters to us, on these really inappropriate sexual adventures.
Yeah.
Not trying to do anything with that, just telling them all this inappropriate stuff.
Yeah.
Like everything was love advice, even if they were just asking, how do you nollie flip? Well, listen. Remember the first time I was trying to nollie flip, there was this girl named Sarah.
Oh, Chris.
Yeah, it would just, whatever a train of thought would spark, I would go there. And sometimes I would not, sometimes there was a few times someone wrote in and I started some tension. And I got Dave Carney into some trouble.
Okay.
Because someone wrote in and it reminded me of someone else in some place, and a skater was mad that his girlfriend was mentioned. He was an Australian skater.
Do we know this Australian skater?
Yeah, we know his name.
All right.
Right. He was an Australian skater, and he thought that Dave Carney had written the response, but it was me. And when Dave was on tour, the guy approached him, and he just started like fighting Dave. It was Adam Luxford. He started fighting Dave. Like,
okay. Oh.
Dave's like, Dave's like, I don't know your girlfriend or whatever. Like, and I later told Dave, I'm so sorry. The response that I gave was why, and Dave didn't know why he was getting like punched. But Dave had gotten me into trouble in the past too.
Dave was capable of getting himself into trouble.
Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah.
But and I don't even know. Yeah. So, sometimes yeah. So yeah.
That was it. So yeah.
I when you like want to leave like some stories behind you, but then they come out. Yeah. I felt.
Do you remember when you did the Entertainment Weekly interview?
Yeah.
For Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
Do you know this?
No.
Oh my God. So Chris is, they have the little quotes.
Yeah.
Like, it was on that page that everyone has a quote, and Chris was on there. Or Chris had a little.
You open up the contents.
There's a little like tiny little thing. And it was like, they asked Chris, do you think some of the actresses might have had breast implants? And he's like, well, Demi Moore might, but listen, my sister has breast implants, and you'll never hear me complain about those. That was the quote. That's the only thing he got to say promoting Charlie's Angels. That's how he answered the letters. That's exactly how he would answer the letters. Like this, we trained you for that moment.
And the picture, you do know the picture though. It's the Madonna, the copy of the Madonna book photo where she's squatted down, she's smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what that photo is from.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we went to like Malibu to do this photo shoot, and they rented out, that dilapidated motel. Like they rented that as the costume room, and then they're like, oh, we don't know where we're gonna we're gonna shoot this. So and this was like a big photo shoot, like with all these crew members and stuff. And we ended up going into the hills a little bit in Malibu, into a stranger's backyard, like that wasn't home, because they thought it had a good background or something. So of all places, and they're like, get naked. So I got naked, and they gave me like cigarettes to pretend like I was smoking luckily the neighbors never came home. It was some fancy house in Malibu, and like that was where we did the shoot. Like it was bizarre, and like I don't even know why we ended up there. But it was a cool experience, and the photo was amazing. I actually saw someone got a tattoo of that photo.
Which photo? I don't even remember what.
Madonna's like, it's like the Madonna photo from Madonna's sex book. She's like that, and she looks, like that. It's a really cool photo.
Street tough.
Yeah, street tough. But it's instead of Madonna, and she's kind of covering her boobs, sort of. Yeah. But instead of her, it's me, and kind of covering my wiener, sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah, so yeah, that was that photo, but This tattooist in Australia did a tattoo of on one leg is me and one leg's Knoxville, and she's amazing tattooist. Like, and it's really cool. It stoked me out. But
on her legs?
No, she tattooed.
Probably.
She's one of those portrait specialists.
Yeah.
You know, some amazing tattooist. But I was stoked at that to see that photo.
Someone has that on their leg.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I have seen other tattoos of people.
I think it's all kind of blue and prisony now. Like
probably.
Like
that's the problem with tattoos. Like
those fancy ones that look real. I don't know if they hold up.
It's best not to get a lot of detail.
Steve-O's looks good though.
Yeah, for some reason.
Which one? The penis on his head or the back?
The big back piece that is photorealistic. Like,
wow, that was amazing. And stay tuned for Jeff Tremaine Part 2. Hear things you've never heard before, but always wanted to. It's going to be awesome.